What's up, y'all? Erebus here. Welcome back to some more Dark Souls Remastered. Today I'm going to show you my magic build. Most of it, anyway. I'm not actually going to show you the stats. I'll make another video on this build with the stats probably in the next week or so. Basically, what happened was I had finished everything that I wanted to finish, PvE-wise, for this build. Killed Seath for the Moonlight Greatsword, got my Red Eye Orb, so on and so forth. I had everything that I wanted / needed. So I was kind of done with PvE, but my levels were not quite where I wanted them. So I decided what better way to grind for souls than by killing people. So there's kind of some various soul levels throughout here. I think most of these go in order, if I'm not mistaken. But I think I started around 67 or 68. And got up to around 78 or 80 by the end. So things are changing throughout the video, which is why I'm not going to show you the build, but I will show you next time, I promise, because I'm about done with it, I'm pretty sure. But this build is a lot of fun. So it's sort of a battle mage, essentially, is how I refer to it. So I do have spells, and I do have the equipment to use them. But I also make use of melee tactics as well. I've got a Dark Hand just pretty much solely for parries, which I don't actually use very much, which surprises me because I do love to parry. But with this build, parries are almost never necessary because just look at the onslaught. I mean, most phantoms will be one-shot by the homing Crystal Soul Mass. Look at this guy just booking it. No way in hell I'm catching him, so I just take the L. I'm not even going to try. But, yeah, so I mean, the Homing Crystal Soul Mass alone will one-shot a lot of phantoms. Combine that, if you time it right, with a Crystal Soul Spear. If you can catch somebody with all of it, they're in deep, deep water. But, of course, like anything else, build-wise, it can be fairly easily countered. If you have your roll timings down, these spells aren't too intimidating. So this chap, for instance, just rolls right past everything. Unfortunately for him, he has kind of a slow weapon, and I was easily able to just walk around him for a backstab and then hit him with the Dark Bead. I don't spam Dark Bead unless I'm fighting a gank, but I find it is a pretty fun spell to mess around with. It's a little bit too OP, in my opinion. But, it's another one of those things where if you have your roll timing down, it's not that big of a deal. Because it's a pretty easy spell to roll if you know how. Ran into a giant dead as well. But can't show you that footage. It's too much. It's too much for my dear viewers to witness. Sorry, giant dead. Shit build. But at any rate. So the big thing with this build is options. I have lots and lots of options. So I've got the Crystal Soul Spear, which is slow but does a ton of damage. I have the regular Soul Spear, which is a bit faster and does less damage. Homing Crystal Soul Mass, which is a very fun spell to mess around with. And then the Dark Bead, which is great for breaking guards, particularly. And then, of course, I've got my Moonlight Greatsword. I also have the Moonlight Butterfly Horn, I think it's called, the spear that you get from killing the Moonlight Butterfly. I don't know that I used it at all in this round of invasions, but I have used it a few times. It's a solid spear on an int build, so that's an option. I think I also have the Dark Silver Tracer, primarily for riposts, if I do get a parry. I've been perfecting the art of the weapon swap, which I don't have any footage of it yet because I was practicing against PvE, but I'm getting there. So if I parry in PvP, which is not guaranteed, but if I do, then I can weapon swap over to the Dark Silver Tracer for the riposte, because its crit percentage is ridiculous. But yeah, like I said, that's not going to be in this video because I haven't actually been doing hardly any parrying, which, as I said, is kind of odd for me. But I don't know why. I just don't find it I don't find it the option that I would turn to, essentially. Between spells and the sword, I just don't feel like I need to parry. I don't need to risk the damage to the face. if I mistime it. Which also, because I ended up parrying so little, I also eventually switched my Catalyst over to my left hand. So I've got Sword and Catalyst out at the same time. And that's even more devastating to the average player. Again, a lot of this stuff is very easy to counter for people who are well-versed in PvP. So none of it is, you know, this is no like, oh, overpowered one-shot build. As I just said, I didn't parry much. There was one, which I didn't weapon swap on. I think this is before I practiced the weapon swaps. But, yeah, so this is no, you know, one-shot OP sort of build. It can one-shot people, certainly. If you get hit with, you know, the Homing Soul Mass and the Crystal Soul Spear or Dark Beat at the same time, pretty much any Phantom will go down in one, and most hosts will also. Not most, but many. But it's not really a one-shot build, because too many variables, too easy to dodge. This poor chap just didn't have his dodges on point. And this damn Sunbro was trying to waggle at him, establish a connection, establish a friendship. He didn't want any of it. But, yeah, so I basically spent a bunch of time. I also haven't really learned yet the best level ranges for some different areas, so been kind of messing around with it. Just kind of going all over the place. So, I mean, you'll see in this video I'm in all sorts of different locations. Because I was just going everywhere trying to figure out where would be, you know, fun to invade, what areas would be most active. Which, by the way, for pretty much all of the soul levels that I was at here, this poor guy just ate all of that. And, oof. GG, man. But yeah, so for the level ranges that I was at here, so between like 60 something and 80 or whatever it was, Lost Izalith was pretty much consistently active. There were a couple of slow periods in there, but in terms of activity at the soul ranges, it was pretty poppin' at every soul level that I tried, so there's some intel for you. This poor guy got ganked. I feel really bad about that, actually. But not bad enough. Didn't give me any sassy gestures or anything, though, because that, you know, when you're getting it from all angles, it's kind of hard to deal with. And, oh yeah, so I also got indicted just there. You've seen that pop up several times already. This is a build that just gets a lot of indictments because it's, I mean, it's not cheesy. I don't want to say that, but it's a little bit, you know. It's not utter cheese, but oh, look at that headshot. 360 no scope, except for I was locked on. But you know, whatever. Yeah, but it's a hate magnet, this build, because especially if you get one shot by it, it's pretty damn annoying. So I got a lot of indictments invading with this character, and I expect I'll get a lot more. Because more importantly than the hate, although I do love the juicy hate as well, but more importantly than that, it's a lot of fun to play, this build. I think part of it is just because there's options. You know, I can use spells, I can use the sword, do like a sword and board thing. The only thing that I can't really do is more like advanced footwork and stuff because I am mid-rolling. I had considered pumping some more investment into endurance to try to get down to a fast roll, but it's just not realistic with the type of armor I'm wearing. And I did want to wear some decent armor to have some poise. Not so much for the casting, but predominantly for the use of the greatsword and also for trying to do things like second hit parries and whatnot. So we'll see. I may end up just upgrading some very light armor and using that so that I can fast roll. But there's some stuff I have to play around with. I haven't upgraded any of the armor that I'm wearing here. Some of it cannot be upgraded, for sure. Actually, I don't know if any of it can be. I'm not positive. But I know some of the lighter stuff can be. This guy almost did really well there. That was a really good backstab attempt. But sadly kept his shield up too long, so he just got the R1 animation that I could easily roll out of. But nice try on him. Was trying to parry this chap. I did go for some parries. I'm not used to dark hand parrying or fist tool parrying at all, because in DS3 I don't use fist weapons for parries ever. If I'm going for a parry, I usually have a shield, so it's a bit new to me. I'm still learning how that works, because the timing's a bit specific. Look at this chap. Popping off dim arrows. His little hidey hole. But I mean, that's what happens with a lot of people. Just instant death, which, you know, I mean, that can get very boring. But again, you have options with this build. So if you don't like how fast people are dying, you can have the homing on there, but go in, you know, melee style. You can go full melee. You know, whatever you're feeling at the moment. So if you just want to nuke somebody, you can. And if you want to drag it out a little bit more, you also can. It's a build with options. Found this guy just fighting the dino brothers. I was chameleoned over here. I don't think he noticed me. I'm not positive because he was coming over this way, but I don't think he noticed me. Because this looked a bit panicked and surprised. Ended up catching him with the homing soul mass, because it fires off whenever the fuck it wants to. So even though it fired off already, one of them had not done so. And caught him in the end. I'm finding more and more that the homing crystal soul mass is kind of a tricky spell to get the hang of, because it does fire off kind of when and how it wants to. And that takes some finagling at times. This guy was trying to cheese me with a bow, which, you know what, I gotta give him props for it. That was a solid attempt. Unfortunately, he just kind of shields up over here, and the Dark Bead makes quick work of him. Another point on me using Dark Bead, I also do not have an optimized build for Dark Bead at all, because there is kind of two steps to the Dark Bead. There's the magic damage portion, but there's also physical damage. I get the benefits of the physical in that it does crazy amounts of stamina damage, but in terms of raw damage, I don't get much out of the Dark Bead because my strength and dex are not very high. I think as of the last time I leveled up, my dex is up to 25 with 44 int, so I'm getting more damage out of the Dark Bead now, but at various points in this video, my dex was at, like, you know, whatever the lowest amount is required for the weapons that I had, so it definitely did a lot less damage because the damage from Dark Bead scales off of your strength and dex as well as intelligence. So, fun fact for anybody who didn't know, although I think most people do by now. Seeing that beautiful, beautiful message summoning Phantom. So that's immediately when I pull out the catalyst. When I see there's going to be multiple, the catalyst is coming out because I don't know how many there's going to be. And Dark Bead is great crowd control. But turns out it was just one guy summoning a buddy, and the one guy died instantly. As seems so common with this build. For as many clips as are in here, I had about twice as many, and the video was like 40 minutes long. But I cut a bunch of them out because you can only watch, you know, somebody just insta-die so many times. But that's the power of the build. If somebody is not highly invested in their health, and or if they are not good at dodging spells, then this build makes quick work of most people. Like I've said a couple times, though, it can absolutely be countered. Wasn't in range for that wog, but GG. But yeah, so as I've said, this can pretty easily be countered. All these spells are very easy to dodge via rolling. So, you know, coming across pretty... You know what, even average, I was going to say pretty skilled PvPers, but even average PvPers, coming across them makes the battles last quite a bit longer because they can dodge the spells, and then it becomes a matter of using the spells a bit more creatively and or working in the melee to be able to finish somebody. This poor chap was just fighting the dog. I felt kind of bad about that one. Gave him a friendly waggle to let him know that it was, you know, nothing too serious on my part, at least. but it's a fun build to mess around with, and I highly recommend it. So I think I already mentioned all the spells that were on here. I think the only one that I didn't mention was Chameleon, which I have almost exclusively just for funsies. I don't really hide in levels for the most part. Occasionally I'll do it for a minute just until I can spot the group to see how many there are. But 9 times out of 10 I'm running into solo hosts, which, you know, for DSR is okay because fighting solo hosts is still fun for me in DSR, unlike in DS3 where it's just irritating. And I want those delicious, delicious co-opers. But yeah, I'm running into a lot of solo hosts. So get co-oping, people. Get your friends. Go on Reddit. Tell them to join you for a friendly game. Here I've got 2 people, and this is much more fun. But yeah, I think I've pretty much said all I wanted to say about the build. For the most part, I just wanted to say it's a lot of fun. It's extremely effective against most hosts and phantoms, although people that are PvPers are going to have less of a hard time with it. And in fact, could have a pretty easy time with it, because I don't have the Vit and Endurance to be 100% melee, so that's that. But at any rate, hope you enjoyed. Hope I didn't ramble too much, but it's in a rambling mood because I'm a rambling man. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Please do like, subscribe, and comment if you so choose, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. See y'all next time.